After years of wide receiver being a weakness for the Clemson Tigers, last year it became a strength, and this year it could be their strongest position on offense or defense. I'm going to break it down. I'm going to focus on some of the newcomers to this group, some new faces or guys coming from other schools, coming from redshirt years, and we're going to break it down. To start, let me pull this up. So 3 guys are leaving the wide receiver room. It starts with Noble Johnson and Troy Stellato, both who transferred out. Now, Noble Johnson didn't play any sort of meaningful role. He only had 16 yards on 3 catches. So him leaving, obviously it's disappointing to spend time developing someone or have someone that you thought was going to be a big hit through the high school ranks come in and not do anything. But you don't really lose any production with him leaving. Stellato's a bit different. He was Clemson's 4th best receiver in terms of receiving yards and PFF grade. He was a solid player, but he was never going to start at Clemson. And so going not down a level, but down maybe a tier to Kentucky gives him a chance to be a major impact player there. Again, for him, provided he could be healthy. So those 2 guys leave, and quite frankly, I'm cheering for Stellato a good bit. I'd love to see him be successful at Kentucky. And I don't think they're big losses for Clemson. In fact, I think Clemson will have better depth despite those 2 transferring out and then Adam Randall leaving the position. I've already recorded and posted a video about Randall moving to running back. I think it's going to be a much better fit for him and a really good move for the team. So I'll link to that video at the end of this one, but definitely check that out. So those 3 guys leave, and that's some depth leaving. But the reason I think this will be Clemson's best room is because the depth is better and the starters are better. So if I go to this next slide here, so Antonio Williams, Bryant Wesco, and TJ Moore are back. Wesco did not start in that first game against Georgia, which had a lot of us scratching our heads and kind of wondering at a certain point, put him in. Wasn't really until garbage time that he and Moore did anything. But then after that, Wesco became a starter against App State. It was amazing. And not too long after that, TJ Moore became a starter. And then Antonio Williams, who had been hurt the year prior, he was healthy all year, and that trio was unbelievable. The 3 of them all had 650-plus yards receiving. Antonio Williams led the group with 75 receptions, by far the most on the team, and he had 904 yards, 11 touchdowns, all team best. Wesco wasn't he was behind, but not too far behind, with 41 receptions, 708 yards, and 5 touchdowns. And then Moore, just a shade behind that with 651 yards, not quite the same. Wesco was averaging 17.3 yards per catch, so ridiculous there. But TJ Moore with 45 receptions, 651 yards, and the same 5 touchdowns himself. So that trio was awesome. And losing Stellato and his 264 yards isn't ideal, but I think what they have in terms of depth is actually better this year. So Tyler Brown redshirted last year because he was hurt, played less than 100 offensive snaps. He was a guy who, if I'm being honest, I was not high on him as a recruit. Didn't love the last second take to get him. He was committed to Minnesota. Clemson was short on guys. They didn't get the top end prospects they wanted. I had hoped go get some guy from the portal that can impact immediately. They got a local 3-star who didn't seem like he could impact immediately. And then he led Clemson in receiving yards as a true freshman. So I was thrilled to be wrong there. As a sophomore, he's hurt. He has a high ankle sprain. He actually ends up getting that tightrope surgery that Tua Tagovailoa had when he was with Alabama. So Tyler Brown had that. He plays a couple games, but ends up redshirting, staying under the 4-game minimum. So he's back. So now he's a second stringer, and that's a really good second stringer. So you got Antonio Williams and Tyler Brown in the slot. You got to like that. And then was thrilled when Clemson went out a year later, or really 2 years later, and they finally add a transfer. And the first impact transfer the Swinney's ever added is Tristan Smith from Southeast Missouri State. He comes over. He's 6'5". I don't know that he's going to have like the speed of a Wesco type thing, but he's big. Garrett Riley says he plays like he's big, which isn't always the case. So he can go up and win those jump balls. Riley spoke very highly of him, already saying he's flashed in practice. So I think you got another guy who could contribute immediately. So it's a really strong second string. And then Cole Turner, he didn't have a great year last year. 229 yards on 16 catches, 2 touchdowns, and his PFF grades aren't great, although the sample size there is a little small. But as a 4th-year player, if he is your 6th best wide receiver, I think you feel really good about Cole Turner in that role. Last year at this time, Antonio Williams was coming back from injury. You had Adam Randall. You had Troy Stellato. You were hoping Wesco and Moore could come on. Well, now they're starters from day one. Antonio Williams is a year better. Tyler Brown is healthy now. You added with Tristan Smith. So I think the depth and the starters are both better. Then you look at some of these new guys, and I'll flip back. Some of the new guys, Marquise Henderson, Juju Preston. So Marquise Henderson is from Belton Honeypath, kind of near Anderson, and he played running back there. So I don't think he's going to be a major contributor year one as he learns, they're 3A South Carolina high school football. Now he's going to major college football. I think that's a pretty big transition to do at the same time that you're also figuring out how to play wide receiver because you were a running back. That being said, I watched his film. It reminded me of Gideon Davidson in that these defenses were just completely overwhelmed. They look just ridiculous trying to stop them. So I love the take, just maybe not this year. I'm going to guess he's going to redshirt. But despite not having huge offers, he was a 4-star, and I really loved what I saw. So I'm excited about Henderson longer term. Juju Preston, to me, I'd love to hear what you guys think, and certainly feel free to disagree with me, but he reminds me a lot of Tyler Brown. I wasn't high on Tyler Brown. I was proven wrong there, and I'm thrilled to be wrong. And I kind of feel the same way about Preston. He's got great speed, and he used it to win routes, despite not being super big, 6 foot, 175. So he reminds me a lot of Tyler Brown in that regard, and we'll see if he develops. But I think redshirt this first year. So when you look at the group as a whole, I don't know where else you would say is a bigger strength for Clemson than wide receiver. I mean, I guess you could make the argument at quarterback, but that's almost cheating because you're talking about one guy. So maybe put that off the table. The offensive line should be good. Everyone's coming back except for Marcus Tate, but I don't know that they're superstar level first-round draft picks in a year or two like these guys are, like Wesco and Moore in particular. Defensive tackle should be good. You have Amari Adams coming in. I think you're excited about Peter Woods in a potential draft year. So maybe defensive tackle. But overall, I think this is the best room Clemson's got. I'm really excited about the depth. And I think with a senior kind of star, maybe top 5 in the country quarterback throwing to them, I'd expect this group to really show out. I think this is a really interesting twist here, as a couple of years ago, Clemson fans were really frustrated with wide receiver coach Tyler Grisham and wanted him out. And I think, in a lot of cases, the Clemson fans were right, and Swinney promoted guys he probably shouldn't have. Lemansky Hall got moved out. Thomas Austin, who I liked a ton as a player, but, he got moved out. So many guys got moved out who fans at the time said this was a bad hire. I mean, Wes Goodwin was another one that fans were not happy about, that Dabo had to pivot and not admit he was wrong, but essentially show it. But Tyler Grisham, you gotta change your opinion and sort of say, hey, either I was wrong at the time, and I personally wasn't really anti-Grisham myself, but I think fans have to say either they were wrong at the time or, events change things, right? And Tyler Grisham is the one who brought in Brian Wesco and TJ Moore, and that's totally reshaped this room. Now he's got Antonio healthy. And so you got an elite trio of starters. He's brought in Tristan Smith from Southeast Missouri State to bolster that depth. I think right now, Clemson fans should be really happy with Tyler Grisham and really excited about this wide receiver room. I think it's one of the best in the country, if not the best. I think it's Clemson's strongest position group. Let me know what you think. Is this Clemson's strongest position group? If not, I don't know what it is, but let me know for sure. And jump in those comments, and I'd love to talk to you there. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It really helps a lot, and I appreciate it. As always, go Tigers.